She went on a first date, she never came home, and within 24 hours, a stranger walking through a park stumbled upon something so horrifying, so unimaginable, that investigators would spend weeks trying to piece together what was left of a 19-year-old girl whose only mistake was saying yes to dinner. This is the story of Sade Robinson, and once you hear it, you will never forget her name. She was more than a victim. Before we get into what happened, you need to know who Sade Robinson was, because this is not just a crime story. This is the story of a young woman who was just getting started. Sade Carlina Robinson was born on May 10, 2004 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She was 19 years old. She was studying criminal justice. She worked 2 jobs to pay her own bills. She lived on her own. She was in her final semester at Milwaukee Area Technical College, and she was already talking about a future in the military. Her younger sister Adriana, who was just 16 at the time, called Sade her guide, her protector, her role model. She had a difficult childhood. Life did not hand Sade Robinson anything easy, but she was building something. She was grinding every single day, 2 jobs, full-time classes, her own apartment. She was doing it all on her own terms. And on the evening of April 1, 2024, she got dressed, stepped out of her front door and went on a date. She never walked back through that door again. The last night here is what we know minute by minute. Sade met Maxwell Anderson for the first time that night. He was 33 years old, a bartender, 6 feet 1 inch tall. They had connected and agreed to meet for dinner at a seafood restaurant called the Twisted Fisherman on West Canal Street in Milwaukee, a place Anderson actually used to work. Surveillance cameras inside the restaurant captured them together. 2 people on a first date. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. After dinner, they moved to a bar in the Menomonee Valley area. More cameras caught them there, still together, still appearing normal. That was the last time anyone outside of Maxwell Anderson's world would see Sade Robinson alive. The next morning, Sade did not show up for her shift at work. That was not like her. Her co-workers immediately reported her missing. That same day, April 2, a passerby walking through Warnemont Park stumbled down a bluff and saw something that stopped him cold, a human leg. Severed at the hip, lead detective Joe Donner of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office was called to the scene. She knew she had a homicide, but she had no victim ID, no weapon, and no suspect. Just a leg, alone in a park, and a question with no answer. Where was the rest of her? The investigation law enforcement moved fast, and they were smart. Sade's burned-out car was found near 30th and Lisbon in Milwaukee, abandoned behind a building. But here is where Detective Donner's instincts kicked in and changed everything. The fire had locked the driver's seat in place, frozen in time, exactly where the last driver had left it. And the seat was pushed all the way back, way too far back for Sade, who stood around 5 feet tall. Donner went to a car dealership, found an identical vehicle model, set the seat to the same position, and had a deputy who matched Sade's height sit down. The deputy could barely reach the pedals. Then she had a taller officer sit in the same spot. A perfect fit. Donner looked into the camera and said it plainly. There is no way Sade was the last person in that driver's seat. Using data pulled from an app on Sade's phone, investigators began mapping her final movements. The digital trail led them straight to Maxwell Anderson. Surveillance footage then captured a man matching Anderson's description walking away from the area where the car was found, and later boarding a bus heading back toward his home on Milwaukee's south side. On April 12, 2024, 11 days after Sade disappeared, Maxwell Anderson was charged with her murder. The horror unfolds, but the discovery of remains did not end with that leg in Warnemont Park. 4 days after the leg was found, a foot was recovered near 31st and Galena Streets in Milwaukee's Walnut Hill neighborhood. On April 18, a torso and an arm were found along a remote stretch of Lake Michigan Beach in South Milwaukee. Then, weeks later, an arm believed to be Sade's washed up on Waukegan Municipal Beach in Illinois, 53 miles from Milwaukee. Prosecutors laid out the full picture at trial. According to their timeline, Anderson killed Sade at his home on Milwaukee's south side. He then drove her body to Warnemont Park in Cudahy, where he dismembered her. He spread her remains across multiple locations. He drove her car miles away and set it on fire. He walked away and took a bus home cold. Calculated, deliberate. A confidential informant told authorities something even more chilling. Anderson had been planning to kill Sade weeks before they ever went on that date. She was not a spontaneous victim. She was a target. And one more thing that haunts this case to this day, Sade's head has never been found. The trial. Maxwell Anderson went to trial in June 2025. He did not present a defense. Prosecutors built their case on forensic evidence, phone data, surveillance footage, vehicle tracking, and witness testimony. The evidence was extensive. The story it told was devastating. The jury, 9 women and 3 men, deliberated for 45 minutes. On June 6, 2025, they returned a verdict of guilty on all counts. First-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse; arson, hiding a corpse. At his sentencing hearing on August 1, 2025, Anderson stood before the court and said he did not commit the crimes. He claimed an unknown assailant had abducted Sade and that someone else set her car on fire to frame him. Milwaukee County Judge Laura Crivello was not moved. She looked at Anderson and said directly, "I have to look at whether you're remorseful, and I don't think you're remorseful in any way." She sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He will never walk free again. The family's pain, but a verdict does not close a wound, not one this deep. Sade's father, Sade Robinson, stood before the court and spoke the words that broke everyone in that room. "My daughter had a lot of life left to live. I don't even have her completely to be able to put her at peace. It brings me night terrors." Sade's 16-year-old sister, Adriana, stood up next, and she delivered a statement that no teenager should ever have to give. She described searching for her sister's body parts instead of going to school. She described learning to communicate with law enforcement while simultaneously trying to hold her grieving mother together. She described losing the ability to trust anyone. He erased her independence, Adriana said, her ability to fight for herself. He tried to erase her existence and her value, and then, all my sister did was meet someone. And he stole her life. In May 2024, just weeks after Sade was killed, Milwaukee Area Technical College held its graduation ceremony. Adriana, dressed in pink cap and gown, walked across that stage and accepted her big sister's posthumous associate degree. Sade had been in her final semester. She almost made it. What changed because of Sade Robinson's mother, Sheena Scarborough, refused to let her daughter's death be the end of the story. She launched a program in Sade's honor to support crime victims. She partnered with a Wisconsin state representative to create a task force specifically examining the disproportionately high levels of violence against Black women and girls. A mural of Sade was painted on the wall near the entrance of Pizza Shuttle, a Milwaukee restaurant where she once worked. It stands there today. The family also filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Maxwell Anderson. And separately, Robinson's mother sued 2 Milwaukee bars that allegedly served alcohol to Sade while she was underage on the night of the murder, arguing they contributed to her vulnerability that evening. Sade's Voice Foundation was established in her memory, continuing the fight for victims' rights and awareness. Her name is not forgotten. Her family made sure of that. A tribute to Sade Robinson was 19 years old. She paid her own rent. She worked 2 jobs. She was weeks away from a degree. She had her whole future mapped out in her head, and she was doing everything right to reach it. She went on one date. She deserved to come home to Sade. "You were not just a victim. You were a daughter, a sister, a hard worker, a dreamer, and a light. This world was better with you in it, and it is less because you are gone. We say your name, we remember you. And we will not stop talking about you until every young woman knows to trust her instincts, protect her peace, and understand that her life is worth fighting for. Rest, Sade, you earned it. Now we want to hear from you." Maxwell Anderson planned this weeks in advance. He showed no remorse in court. He maintains his innocence to this day and plans to appeal.
I did not commit these crimes, and so I plan to appeal my convictions while I hope and pray that further investigations not only prove my innocence, but find and deliver true justice.
Anything else you wish to say?
No, ma'am.
So here is the question we are leaving you with. Do you believe justice was truly served? Or does life in prison still feel like not enough when a family cannot even bury their daughter whole? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if this story moved you, share it. Sade's story deserves to be heard by as many people as possible. Do not forget her name.